UFC 308 on Saturday in Abu Dhabi, and joining me right now, the former featherweight champion of the world and one of my favorite people to interview. I've interviewed him many, many times, given how many title defenses this guy has racked up and how many world title fights he has been in. Of course, I'm talking about the great Alexander Volkanovski. Volk, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I am doing awesome. Looking forward to seeing Max and Ilia go at it in the main event for the featherweight championship. Ilia Topuria, who defeated you to win the belt, going up against Max Holloway, who you defeated to win the belt. Ilia is very confident, as he was against you going into the fight. What do you make of that? And is that something you think that you have to be prepared for, a guy that exudes the kind of confidence that he does, more so than maybe the average fighter?
Um, yeah, man, like he's definitely would be confident. I think he plays on that as well. I think that's a part of his sort of how can I say, like persona maybe. Like he plays on that. Like even before our fight, he already had champion and
Right.
stuff like that. So obviously he would be confident, but he likes to sort of show that as well. And you've seen even after his fight, after our fight, obviously he was quite happy and even like, well, look what I just did. Big moment for him. So you can see that obviously he takes his opponent serious. He's going to say these things, but I guarantee he might sound confident, but he knows he's in for a tough fight against Max, and he would be he'd be prepared. That's for sure.
Nobody knows Max better than you do. You were in there three times with him. I'm sure you could probably fight him in your sleep without you know what he's going to do. But, Ilya said to me two things last week that I thought were interesting. Number one, he said, if this fight goes to the ground, the minute his back hits the mat, I could submit him in 1 second. Obviously, kind of goes into what we were just talking about, his confidence, but he does come to the UFC as a guy with great grappling. That was his reputation. Do you think if the fight goes to the ground, he has a significant edge on Max?
Um, Max has got great takedown defense, so I just think it's going to be very hard for Ilia to get it down there, to get it there, and to hold him there. So I've tried a few times. Like you take him down, Max does a great job of the takedown defense before you even get there, and even as soon as you get him to the mat, he's quite good at getting himself back to his feet, back to the cage or wherever it is to get himself up. Getting him down is pretty tricky, and submitting I think would be pretty difficult for Ilia. I think Ilia would know that. But yeah, I guess Ilya knows because I haven't got to see too much of it, but you hear that he's originally a grappler, and I think he did was he Greco-Roman? I think he was Greco-Roman wrestling. So I think
Yep.
so he would have some of that there. So he's obviously going to try and use all his tools, maybe to mix it up. But I think him trying to look for the takedown with someone like Max could wear on him even more. The gas tank. So Max can do it all day. We know that. Yeah, he's proven himself his gas tank time and time again. I think that'll be pretty difficult for him to get to the mat, to be quite honest.
How much does it discourage a guy if like in your case, you took him down a couple of times, he pops back up, or you try to take him down? Does that mentally wear on you as the fight goes on? Like, what can I do to get this guy in a position I need him in?
It depends on the fighter. There are fighters that go for the takedown and they put everything into it and hope for the result. A lot of people aren't good at not getting the result they want. Some people everything they do they want the result. In training, whatever it is, a lot of people take every situation by the result that they get. You know what I mean? They think any something that doesn't happen is a failure, and it can sometimes get to people, and that's a can be a big problem. And you see that in a lot of team sports, whatever it is, in a lot of people. You can't expect the result every single time. That's how you got to keep your composure when things don't go your way. For me, I'm always looking for the takedown, and if it's there, it's there. If I don't care. But it's a part of my game. I'm more than happy. It depends where it goes. If they're doing a good job, they're starting to build up. I'll use them building up to land shots as they're getting up, or go to the next thing. And so it doesn't rattle me at all. And I know I've got the gas tank to constantly go up, down, and whatever it is. So when you've got a good gas tank as well, you tend to not stress over other things. It's one less thing you need to worry about. Something that Joe Lopez has always said to me. even my head coach, ever since I started. Fitness, if you're really fit, that's one less thing you need to worry about. You can go out there and just fight the fight in front of you, knowing that you ain't going to get tired. And that's something that's always stuck with me, and you could see when I go in there. So I'll put everything into everything, knowing that I won't tire.
Right.
But, the thing is, again, with Max is the same. That's why he's a volume striker. You can see he's always working. He's always constantly trying to break the person. That's not really Ilia's style. Ilia's going to be looking for the right shots, the right time to land them big shots, and he's very dangerous that way. So I think that's what he's going to stick to. If the takedown, if he goes for the takedown and doesn't get it, I think that can maybe rattle him a little bit, or maybe he's just using that. Whether he's told himself, "Look, I might not get the takedown, but it's one less. It's one thing that Max needs to. Another thing Max needs to worry about now. If I can get him freezing or hesitating that little bit, I can land these big hands that I got. Maybe that's something that Ilia can look at, but." It's easier said than done. If that's not really your style, if I shoot for a takedown, I fucking go, oh, excuse me. I go,
We're good.
I go all in on it. You know what I mean? Or if everything I throw is 100%,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Where with me, I'll throw, I wouldn't call them like half committed punches, half committed kicks, even takedowns and, level changes. I do a lot of different things. There could be different reasons for them to cut people off, to keep them guessing, keep them hesitant, to disguise my real attacks. I'm constantly doing a lot of different things. And then some fighters are a bit different. They're waiting for that perfect shot. And some people are really good at it. But I feel like that is Ilia's style. So if he does shoot for the takedown, he will be, really trying to get it. And I think he's going to find that hard. So, he can't let that get to him too much. Otherwise, that'll get his gas tank and stress levels high as gas tank going down.
It seems to me like when you fought for the title for the first time, you had a lot of high-level experience. You fought Aldo and a lot of really good opponents. And I think if you look at your opponents before you fought for the title for the first time compared to Ilia's going up against you as the champion, you had fought better people. So that would suggest to me that he is mentally strong and mentally tough, right? That's what that would say to me. Would you agree with that? The fact that he could go from fighting, I think Josh Emmett was his best opponent that he had faced, going against you, who at the time was pound for pound #1 in the world, and he handled that, right? He handled the pressure of fighting the best guy in the world, and then he performed.
Yeah, for sure. And undefeated, so he will feel invincible, which is going to be a good thing if he's going to need that, especially early. But how that's something that this is something I want to see, because even with me, while we're fighting. Obviously, I wanted to do more. There's a lot of things I could have done better, but things, he was missing, and he was even saying, like you heard him straight after his fight, he was faster than I thought. He was saying that about me. A couple of things, right? That he was, but he wasn't. It didn't faze him too much. He was still stoic and stuck to it, and then end up finding it anyway. So I feel like that's going to be the case, because again, he's going to be invincible. I might not get it. I'll eventually get it. But when he really starts to feel that, tiring, he's not landing shots, he's getting, shots landed on him. And, he's seeing his opponent build up even more and more. And, he can see his opponent getting even more confident while he's getting more tired. He's never seen that before. And, with someone like Max, let's be real, everything I just said there, you'd be like, oh, Max is the guy that can do that to you, right? So this is going to be a real good test for Ilia. If Ilia doesn't catch him early, you're really going to see how he handles being uncomfortable. He hasn't been able to be uncomfortable. I don't know how he trains, but training and fighting, he hasn't in the octagon, or the cage, whatever, but even before he fought in the UFC, he hasn't really handled that too much. He has had some adversities, but not at that level, not when you're crumbling. And now all of a sudden, you feel like you can't throw your punches as powerful. You're hesitating. You're freezing a little bit. You're trying to conserve. I want to save my energy. We'll see how he handles that. Obviously Max has been there a million times, so he's not going to be thinking of that. He's just going to get more and more comfortable as the fight goes, where that's unknown territory for Ilia against someone at that level, as you're saying before, right? So we will see a lot. We'll see a lot what happens this weekend. It's going to be very interesting. But I mean, if Ilia goes out there and does his thing, mate, that's very impressive. You're obviously taking myself out and Max, the two guys that have been on top of this division for so long. It's impressive, you know what I mean? And he'll be right up there for Fighter of the Year. He's maybe not as active as some of the other guys, but the competition is
you beat Holloway and Volkanovski, and I asked Max that question last week. I said, if you beat Ilia, you've turned around, you've beaten Justin Gaethje and Ilia. Are you Fighter of the Year? Oh, and he said it was Alex Pereira, but it's a tough one. Let me ask you this about Max. I talked to him last week one day, so 8 or 9 days out from the fight, maybe 10 days out from the fight. And a lot of people, when the interview went out, they were like going, oh my God, Max looks like he's struggling to make the weight. He should have stayed at lightweight, blah, 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 blah. Now I wasn't too taken by it when I see him, because I've seen Max like that. He always looks like that, a little bit. Yeah. But what do you take? Do you think that there's anything to the notion that, hey, when you fight, the higher weight, and it's going to be harder going back down as opposed to the other way around, right?
I have thought that with Max a few times before. Even when I was fighting him, I'm like, man, is he going to be able to fight? Like, I'm worried that he might not make the weight or might get sick and might not fight. And then he ends up turning up. So now I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. But right. I think I might have seen a couple of clips of your, man, it must have been your interview, because I was thinking the same, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
But then I'm like, nah, Max just, looks like that. All of a sudden, sometimes he looks like, well, man, he's struggling. And then he's fight day, he's on, so but then I actually might have seen a couple of clips today, and these are recent interviews, so he's even closer to his weight cut, and he sounded a lot better. And looked a lot better. I don't know if he must have been crook when he was talking to you, maybe, because that's what it seemed like. He might have sounded sick or something. Where now he sounded reasonably fresh, considering it's fight week. I just seen an interview recent, like today. I'm guessing it was, I don't know, it was just a clip. And I'll look at that and I'll go, oh man, like last interview, it looked like we were struggling. So I was like, man, I wonder how it's going to be. But like I said, I was thinking, I wonder how it's going to be. Oh, no, he always looks like that. He's all good. But I know I was thinking that. Where now, I wasn't thinking that at all. I thought he looked great.
How do you think the fight turns out? You fought them both. You've been in there with both of them. So I'll make it a 2-part question here. How do you think it turns out, and what is best for Alexander Volkanovski in terms of a result?
Man, it's the second question. I'll answer the first one. The first one, again, with how I think the fight goes. Again, Ilia's a great fighter. I've been flying, so I've been able to see a couple of clips that popped up,
right?
And I might have seen some written text of things that he might have said, maybe he's upset that I was picking Max Holloway to beat him, and that's no knock to him. You know what I mean? It's not. I know a lot of it. It's not that. It's just, again, look at Max has proven himself time and time again. Look who Max has fought.
You're picking one of the greatest fighters of all time. That's no,
you know what I mean? It's just, again, Ilia like, oh, I beat him, and Alex beat him. Why would he pick Max? It's like, that's a real, not a good way of looking at it. But I just mean, Max has proven himself time and time again. And I just think, where Ilia is strong, he might still have difficulties with Max. Even if he does land them big shots, Max is known for that granite chin. You know what I mean? So, I think it's going to be harder than he thinks to land on Max. But even when he does, there's a good chance Max can take him. So, so that's why I believe, and then as the fight goes, I think it's just going to be harder. So that's what I'm going with. I know Ilia's got great hands, great wrestling, great jiu-jitsu, great fighter. I'm not knocking him one bit. It's just, right. I'm just backing the guy that he's facing, and that guy that's facing's proved himself time and time again. So, and how many times has Max been in this position? He goes out there and makes the fight look easy. Right. You know what I mean? And that could happen this weekend. And all of a sudden, me and Max are doing a number 4. You know what I mean? So let's that second question is a good one. Who would I rather face? Ilia's beat me. I want that win back.
Right.
that's obviously a fight I want back. So if I could guarantee I fought someone in February in Sydney, them two, it'd be Ilia, 100%. I'd love Ilia get that win back. All right, but who's more likely to get me fighting sooner? Like I don't want to wait. You know what I mean. So who would, if Max wins, he would. I guarantee
he would want you.
Yeah, he would fight me in Australia, and I know he would. You know what I mean? Like that's a guy he is. He's like me. I'm the same. I'd fight him in Hawaii while I was champion. That's just how we are. Like we'll fight anyone if it's the right timing and it's the right fight and what the UFC want and we think it's going to make the fight bigger. Beautiful. Let's do it. So I know he would. But is he, even if he can, perfect in February in Sydney would be great. But is his next fight lightweight, BMF defending that? That might be it. But then obviously that leaves the door open for me fighting him after that. But me maybe doing interim in Sydney or something. You got what I mean? It just opens doors. It opens the doors or gives me a more clearer way of fighting sooner. I think if Ilia wins, I can't guarantee I fight him in February. You know what I mean?
Simple question with not such a simple answer, it turns out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so it is a tricky one. But I think they're both selfish. Yeah, I'd fight Ilia because he's got a win over me. So I'd love to fight him. But I want to fight sooner. So I don't know, Ilia, maybe it's going to end up being mid next year or something. I don't know how long he's going to want. So I obviously don't like that. I wanted to wait till the end of the year. Now I have to wait, probably a couple extra months than I wanted to. So, me fighting sooner, for that to happen, I think Max winning gives me a clearer path to fighting sooner rather than later. So that's why I would say Max, which is weird because I want to fight Ilia to get that win back. But I don't want to sit around waiting the whole time.
Wait all the time. Yeah, you can fight him after you're the champion again, right? That's the way to look at it.
Exactly right. That fight's going to be there. I go there and get the belt back. I'm still going to want to fight him. You know what I mean? I want that win back. So that's always going to be there, I guess.
We appreciate you, Alex. One of the best guys in the UFC, of course, one of the best fighters in the world. Alex, appreciate you so much, brother. We will see you soon. Enjoy the fight on Saturday.
No worries. Always good chatting to you. I'll see you later.
See you, mate.